Hello everyone, it's Sheila's back on again. I've come on to brag. When I made the other video, if I'd realised then that I had 4,000 subscribers, I would have just bragged on there. But I didn't until after I put the video up and checked the status and everything, and I've got 4,000 subscribers, because I brag every time I get 1,000. On my other channel, Sheila's Just Knitting, I was bragging every 100 I got till I got to 1,000, so I'll not be bragging on that one again till I get to 2,000. But I had to come on and let you know that I'm on to 4,000 subscribers on my Knitting Tips channel. And I have been sitting watching Derek's live because I missed it. I think it was yesterday. For some reason, the notifications, I usually just check on my phone. That usually, you usually get the little tinkle noise on your phone when you get things like that. But for some reason, Derek's never shows up on my phone. Must be something to do with YouTube because other people's shows up. But Derek's didn't, that's how I missed it. Because I think, like I said, I wasn't at my granddaughter's yesterday because they were camping. And usually if I'm sitting all day and never have anybody to talk to, I probably end up dozing off, which I think I did about tea time yesterday. That's maybe how I missed it as well. But I've been watching, I've watched his live this afternoon, and there was one or two things about his dogs barking, and that made me remember mine. I've had about 3 dogs in my lifetime. The last one died just before my husband, no, it was just after my husband died. No, it was just before. I got to think. And I said I wouldn't get another dog again because being on my own, before when my husband was alive, there was 2 of us here, and so when one of us went out, there was always another one. There was nearly always usually one other one here. Now and again, we both went out together. But the dogs we've had were good dogs and they were okay when we were out. But I wouldn't like to have another one now and I have to leave it in the house by itself any length of time that I would be going out. But the one I had in particular, his name was Kim, and he was a cross with a border collie and we don't actually know for certain, but I think he was crossed with an Alsatian, and he was about Alsatian size, and he was a right terror for the bitches. We had I think it was at the time when we first moved into this house, we put a fence up in the back garden. There was only one of those little rickety fences in the back garden, with the those thin bits of wood that were fixed together with wire. That's what the council used to put on. Was it willow or something like that they were made of? And it wasn't near enough high enough to keep him in the garden. You could just lop over it, no trouble at all. And I wasn't going to tie him up my dog up in the garden. I like him to have the free range of the garden. So we built a higher fence. I think we got some wood cheap somewhere, and it was about 5 foot, so I thought, well, that's good enough, 5 foot fence, that'll keep him in, or so we thought. I went out one day and he was missing. He was nowhere in the garden, and when I went down the bottom of the garden looking at the fence, I could see the bits of fur on the top of the fence where he had lopped over the fence. Somebody had went past with the dog and he had jumped over the because he was terrible barking at everybody that went past with dogs and all that. But he used to jump over the fence, but he was very friendly with them when he used to bark if they went past. But he was very friendly when he did jump over the fence, and we just gave up on him. There was nothing we could do, and there was no way I was going to tie him up. And where I lived, it was old coal mining places, all just pit heaps behind our gardens, and he just used to roam around there and used to come back home until he started getting a bit older and he couldn't get over the fence anymore, as he wasn't quite as active. But when he was younger, I had to tell you a little story one time. Where I live, I have a green in front of my house, and then further up the street there's a road, and then there's another green, a round green further up. Well, there was a family lived up there, had a, I didn't know what kind of dogs they had at the time, but he used to keep disappearing. He used to jump over the fence at the back and go the path all the way around, and he used to end up at, we seen him one day, we didn't know where he was going, but we could see, me and my husband were in the garden, and we could see, looking all the way up the street and onto this other green, we could see this. Well, we have a anyone that doesn't know, that doesn't live in this country, we have a dog warden goes around. If anybody complains about dogs around the place, the dog warden will come out and pick the dogs up, and then you have to pay to get them back if they're not strays, you know. And we're seeing the dog warden van up at this house, up this middle green, and I looked really close, and he had the, you know, the long thing with a hook thing on the end, and he was trying to catch his dog, and I suddenly realised it was my dog, Kim. I said to my husband, look, at the dog warden's up there, he's trying to get hold of Kim. So my husband whistled, and Kim knew his whistle straight away, and he just turned round and he darted all the way back down the road, jumped over our gate and into the garden. And the dog warden fella gets in his van and he races all the way around, and he comes outside our house, and he's going to see us before. Look at, you cannot touch him, he's in his own garden now. I says, there's nothing you can do. I says, if he was straying outside, and he says, look at missus, please will you keep your dog in, he says, at least until her flaming bitch is out of heat, because he says, she's been ringing us every day because apparently your dog's been sitting outside there all day, and their dogs were little Yorkshire Terrier. But she was breeding them, she had the two of them, you know, and so he said to me, please keep your dog in, will you? I mean, we had a bit of a job, but we did manage to keep him in. But we had put him on a long lead, like in the back garden, so he couldn't jump over the fence and get out. But I went up to the lady who had the two. That was when I found out the two little Yorkshire Terriers. If he had getting a hold of the bitch, and I don't know what sort of what he would have done if he had puppies the size of him and the size of these little terriers, like. But I told her, I gave her my telephone number, and I says, look, we're keeping him in the garden as best we can. I says, if he does happen to get out, he'll only sit outside your door in the hope that he's going to have a bit of romance with your little bitch, like. She says, but he's a big dog, I'm frightened of him. I says, he's soft as muck. I says, he'll not hurt you. You know, I says, there's my telephone number. I says, if he happens to be sitting outside your door, just ring us and I'll come up and get him, you know. So that quietened down after a while, but he was terrible. If there was any bitches, my estate, I think nearly every bitch on the estate's got his puppies. When me and my husband went out for a walk around, there's back tracks and that around where we live. They're proper tracks now, but they were just dirt tracks and that. And we're out for a walk with the dog, going past all the gardens, the back gardens, because all this track ran around all the back gardens. And we came to this this particular house, and there was two dogs in the garden, or two beautiful, like nearly all white, like really like fluffy furry dogs and that, and he was barking and growling at them and everything. And the man come out, and he looked at Kim and looked at his dogs, and he said to Kim, will you stop barking at your daughters? And he's telling us, he says everybody on the estate used to invite Kim into their gardens if their bitch was in heat, because they all wanted puppies off him because they loved what he looked like. He was like a creamy and a beige coloured. His fur, you know, he had that really fluffy fur. I've probably got photographs of him somewhere, but oh, hang on, I think I have one that I can probably show you. I'll get up and get it. You can see it. That was Kim. He lived till he was 14 years old and he was a big miss when he went. But we had to have him put to sleep because he had heart problems and other problems, and he had something else. He ended up with cancer, and but that was the kind of dog he was. But he was so gentle. He was such a gentle dog as well. Like, you know, we had never, from the size of him, anybody, you know, that thought they'd be frightened of him, there was nothing to be frightened of. But that was just a little extra video I came on to tell you about, because I have 4,000 subscribers. So thumbs up and subscribe again, and bye for now.